Good morning, greetings everyone. June Allen here, founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. So thank you so much everyone. Thank you so much for joining me from London. The sun is shining. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling optimistic and I'm ready for the day. I'm ready for the day. So are you ready for the day? So today I want to share with you how to actually enjoy the healing process. Okay, I want to share with you how to enjoy the healing process. Now, a lot of times, when we think about the healing process, hi, thanks everyone for joining. When we think about the healing process, it's so easy for us to kind of get lost in the trauma, the pain, the grief, all of that kind of stuff, which is really, really important. Obviously, you need to understand what's going on for you, but at the same time, it's important to be able to enjoy part of it. Enjoying the healing process is an important part of it. Okay, because at the end of the day, if it's always about the trauma and the pain and all of that kind of stuff, it's hard to sustain. It's hard to sustain that long term, and it's easy for us to abandon what we're trying to do, the good stuff that we're trying to do, when we totally focused only on all of the drama and all of that kind of stuff, the pain and all of that. So that's kind of what I want to share with you today. So for those of you that don't know me or that are not familiar with my work, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. So my name is June Allen, and I'm the founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. I also run a Black Women's Mastermind. I'm a mum. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a student psychotherapist in training. I passed my first year of my level 4 recently. I actually got to write, I'll do another separate live stream about that. But so yeah, just feeling very, very pleased with myself that I got to that point and I was able to pass the first year. I've got one more year left, and then I'll be fully qualified. Yay! But so really happy about that. So I began my healing journey back in 2009, and thank you so much for the congratulations. I went into recovery on the back of a very, very painful relationship, both with my family and with a particular person. And I knew that I needed to get this work done. There's a lot of stuff I didn't really understand what was going on for me, and I needed to do this work. So I went into 12-step recovery. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what it means to be human. I learned a lot about the healing process. But what was missing was the cultural context. What was missing was the cultural context. I didn't understand how being a black woman kind of played into that. I didn't understand how being a black woman was part of that conversation. How do I deal with living under the system of racism as a black woman, and how does that link to my healing process? How does the fact that my parents are from Jamaica and having 240 years of enslavement of my ancestors in Jamaica, what impact did that have on who I am today? The people that I was speaking to, there was, those conversations weren't actually happening, and so I became obsessed with with that conversation, trying to figure out what does that actually mean, and not just what does it mean, but actually how do you deal with it? How do you manage all of that stuff? What does that look like in terms of the healing process? And that is, as I shared my journey and had more conversations, obviously not just going into therapy myself, but actually training to become a therapist, and doing a lot of my own research, because a lot of the institutions and stuff that around the training don't always teach this stuff either. I did a lot of it for my own research, and what happened was, the dots. I started to join the dots about all of this stuff, and it became so empowering to be able to understand and incorporate all of this as part of my healing process. So I feel very, very grateful for that. And as I've learned, I've continued to share and empower, the women that I work with, and men as well. I do work with men as well. It's so interesting. Sorry, got loose hair there. It's so interesting that I work with men as well. Men have tended to come to work with me a lot around the issues that they have with their mothers, actually. As it relates to relationships. And so that's been very empowering for me to be able to do that as well. So yeah, and then that's how the Art of Greatness was born. And I absolutely love what I do. It's hard work. It is difficult having to hear some of the stories. But what I absolutely love about what I do is, I just get to see people getting vulnerable, and I see people really doing this healing work, and I see people starting to feel empowered to get their confidence back, having better relationships, just processing a lot of stuff that they've held on to for years, a lot of stuff that they've not been able to tell anyone because they've not had a safe space to be able to share it. They've not had anyone that's really understood the cultural context, and that's the main reason why a lot of people choose to come and work with me, because I'm having these conversations and applying the cultural context, whether it's what your family internalized about racism, whether it's to do with what's going on in society and how we internalize that and then act it out in our relationships with ourselves and with each other within the community. These are the types of conversations that are not often heard publicly. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about what I do and the importance of what I do. So thank you very much for those of you that have just joined. So for those of you that have just joined, and just giving you a little bit of a recap. So today I'm going to be talking about how to enjoy the healing process. Okay, so for those of you that are interested in what I was saying about the book club, the Black Women's Mastermind, we currently have a book club at the moment. We've just started reading this book, What Mama Couldn't Tell Us About Love, and it's absolutely, it's really beautiful at the moment. If you've got mother wound issues, if you've got a black mum that was abusive, neglectful, any of that, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff in relating to this book. So not only do you have access to reading the book, if you join the mastermind, there's an extensive library as well with loads of worksheets, master classes, lots of resources. There's loads and loads of things that you have access to in addition to this. So we read this on a Thursday evening. It's 8 p.m. London time, and obviously you get the support and stuff as well. We have sister sharing time as well as part of the book club, so you get an opportunity to share what's coming up for you. There's also support resources. You get like a PDF as well, which accompanies each chapter. We read one chapter live every week, and I create support resources, so stuff that you can write about in your journal, and then suggestions for things that are in the library that may support whatever topics that come up. Don't worry if you haven't, you can still join even if you've missed, some of the previous chapters. We've only just really started. I think we're on chapter 3 this week, I think. All of the support resources are already in the library, so you can either catch up and read it or not. It's totally up to you, because we focus not necessarily on the book itself, but we focus on the topics that come up in the book. So you can still join the book club if you would like to. So that's what's happening. Also, if you just want some free tools, you're looking for some ways to cut, some easy simple ways to love yourself, if you click the link in the bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Not only will you find information about how to join the book club, but there's also information there about how you can download a free PDF called 101 Simple Self-Love Tools. So jump on that and go to the link in my bio, or go to heal.juneallen.net, and you can find out all the information there. So let's crack on with the content. So today I am talking about 3 ways that you can start to enjoy the healing process. Okay, if you've got any questions about anything that I share, drop them in the comments and I will answer them. Or if you don't feel confident to share them in the comments, you can send me a direct message and I will answer the questions there. Okay, so the first way that you can enjoy the healing process a bit more is take a pause and just remember how far you've come. A lot of times we can just go on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Oh, I need to deal with this part of my healing. Oh, I need to deal with that part of my healing. And when you do that, you don't really get the opportunity to think about, or to celebrate your wellness, to celebrate actually how well you've done, how much you've grown, how much things have changed in your life since you've been doing this work. So it's really, really important to give yourself permission to pause. I'm actually in that phase at the moment. I've gone into solitude phase, not isolation. I'm gone into solitude so that I can sit in my girl cave and think about, okay, so I've just done all this work or whatever over the last 6 months, and then think about, okay, well, how has it changed me? How has it changed me? What have I learned that's actually impacted my ability to show up? How has it impacted me as a business owner? How has it impacted me as a parent? How has it impacted me in terms of my relationships, my dating, all of that kind of stuff? So sit and pause and think about how far I've come. And remember that, a lot of us out here, breaking, still breaking generational patterns. Okay, so and I had a conversation about that this morning in one of my meetings. I've been so exhausted. I didn't realize how burnt out I was. I didn't realize how exhausted I was. And I think just completing what I needed to complete in terms of college, and then finishing up, all of the new stuff that I've implemented in terms of launching the book club, and also just supporting the clients that I work with. I work with a lot of people at the moment, and people still asking me to do stuff, and I have to be able to really look at that and go, do you know what? I've achieved a lot, and I have tools. Not only am I continuing to empower others, but I'm also continuing to do my own healing process, still still in recovery, still going to meetings, still doing therapy, still doing my still training, doing all of that stuff. And all of that stuff takes time and energy. So to just give myself permission to pause and maybe not do so much of that stuff. I'm actually going to be taking a break this summer from therapy, just so I can give myself permission to kind of go, ooh, okay, let me just sit with this for a minute. Let me just sit with what's going on. Let me just think about where I am, what's happened, and all of that. And it feels nice. Just go out and enjoy the sun, and just think about, just get present. Stop being focused so much on what's happened in the past, or being focused on what I need to do going forward, but what's actually happening in the moment, what's actually happening now. Okay, what's actually happening now. That's really, really important. So that's the first one. Pause and remember how far you've come. Remember how far, what all the stuff that you've done, all the decisions that you've made, all the boundaries that you've set that have really helped you to be able to empower yourself, to celebrate yourself, and all of that. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is choose people who are going to help you feel good about yourself, that are going to help you with this healing process. A lot of times, and I ask myself this question quite a lot now: are you actually choosing the people that are in your circle, or do they choose you? Okay, an important part of this healing process and being able to enjoy the healing process is having people around you that are going to empower you, that are going to tell you the truth, that are going to also be fun for you, that are going to remind you of who you are. Okay, in a good way. Have a quick think and pause and reflection on, okay, well, who are the people that are in my circle at the moment that are able to help me with this? Okay, who are the people in my circle at the moment that are helping me to enjoy what I'm doing, that are helping me to enjoy my growth, that those people that are going to remind me, hang on a minute, don't be so mean to yourself because you did X, Y, and Z this year. Don't forget that. You want those people, you want more of those people in your life that are going to help you stay focused on not only what you need to do, but also the good things that you've brought into not just their lives, but other people's lives. Okay, you need those people. So you need to be able to check your circle, and remind yourself that, okay, that I need these people in my life to remind me that it's okay for me to enjoy the process as well. It's not just about digging up all of the painful stuff, the traumatic stuff. It's important to be able to have fun with it, and not always take your the healing process so seriously. And this is something that I have to work on. I can be in that space where if I'm not constantly working on myself, or doing something, or having some therapy, or doing, I think that I'm not doing enough, or I think that, there's always something has to be wrong. No, there isn't always something has to be wrong. Some days it's just about basking in your femininity, and basking in your in the joy of the sun, or whatever it is, and just keeping it simple. It doesn't always have to be so intense. It doesn't always have to be so full on all the time. An important part of doing this work is being able to pace yourself. Okay, it's about being able to pace yourself and being okay with it, and not feeling guilty about pacing yourself, about slowing down and taking a break. I'm taking a break at the minute as well, from spending a lot of time with other people, because I really feel at the moment that my process really needs solitude. I really need time to myself. I really need time to myself. So, I haven't been doing a lot of social events. I haven't been doing a lot of chatting on the phone or anything like that, because I realize that I really just need you know, because I can talk a lot, I can get in, and also because I'm a therapist and all of that, you know, it's easy for me to just go into therapist mode, you know, when I'm chatting to people sometimes, and so having boundaries around that. And sometimes people come to me obviously because they want me to, you know, do this. I'm having to have boundaries around a lot of that so that I can replenish all of the energy that I give out. You know, I love supporting people, I love helping people, but I have to have boundaries around that to make sure that I'm not over giving, that I'm not giving people from the cup that should be full. My cup needs to be, as Iana Van Zant says, my cup needs to be filled first. And what comes out of the cup is what I give to my community and what I give to my clients. If my cup is starting to get empty, or if I'm starting to give from people from the cup that I have, then there's something going on there. And I need to remember that I need to have boundaries around that, and remember that I need to give to myself first. So, and an important part of that is, like I was saying before, is about making sure that my circle, the people that I have in my circle, are people that I've chosen, that I know that are going to nourish me as I nourish them as well. So choosing your circle and being intentional about your circle is really, really important. Okay, so the last one is reward yourself. Okay, reward yourself. How many of you, okay, when you get to certain milestones in your wellness, reward yourself? Okay, and I know there's probably a lot of you that don't, and I know this is something that I've had to learn because I'm so quick to go on to the next thing that I feel that needs to be sorted out or needs to be done or whatever, that I can forget to reward myself. And this is why pausing is important. Like I said, there's number one is about pausing to see how far you've come. When you remember how far you've come, then it's easy for you to make a decision about, okay, well, how am I going to reward myself with this? It doesn't have to be a big gesture. Doesn't have to be a big gesture. It can be small things. You know, what was that thing that you wanted to buy for yourself? What was that event that you really, really wanted to go to that you can reward yourself with? You know, there's, with the pandemic lifting and stuff in the UK, or the lockdown thing is lifting more in the UK. The restrictions are starting to loosen now, where they're starting to allow more people to go to different events and stuff like that. What are some of the events that you really, really wanted to go to that you haven't been to, that you can go to now? You know, is there a music festival that maybe you want to go to? Is there a live music event or whatever that you want to go to? I've booked up for all of these things. You know, there's one of my favorite music artists. I don't know if you know Nitin Sawhney. I love his work. He's an Indian artist, and I've always been a fan of his work. And I saw him at the Royal Albert Hall, Royal Velvet Hall. I saw him at the Royal Albert Hall a couple of years ago, and it was just an amazing experience. So he's going to be doing another show. He's going to be doing another series of shows. I think it's in October, so I bought tickets to go to that. You know, so reward yourself. You know, you can do the big things, you can do the extravagant things. You know, book that concert, book that trip if you want to. Book that event. But also, it's about rewarding yourself daily as well, because you don't want to. What it is, it's about finding ways to be more present. So, if you want to go and buy that favorite slice of cheesecake that you really like, or that you've got a favorite mug that you have to, that you love drinking out of, or you've got chinaware, bone chinaware that you've got stuck in a cupboard somewhere that you don't really use. Go and get it out. Go and get it out and have a green tea in it. It's about giving yourself permission to enjoy the smaller things in life. Okay, to enjoy the smaller things. Don't deny yourself these things, because being a black woman and doing this work is hard enough. Okay, it's hard enough to be doing this work. So giving yourself permission to enjoy the rewards of all the work that you've done is really, really important. And one of the things, I'll share this last thing actually. This is a bonus one that you can do to enjoy the process. And this is something that I do, is I have a separate bank account, okay, that I put money in every month. It's just for me to experience joy. Okay, so I have a joy bank account where I just put stuff in there, put money in there, and if there's something that I want to buy, or an event that I want to go to, or I want to buy myself that extra, green tea or whatever, then I'll use it from that account, because that account is specifically for me to enjoy myself, for me to experience pleasure, for me to look after myself, to pamper myself. And I love that, because then there's no guilt. When I spend money from that account, there's no guilt. There's no kind of like, oh, well, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, or I shouldn't really be spending that money because it should be going to this, that, or the other. That specific bank account is for me. It's for me. It's not for parenting stuff. It's not for anybody else. It's for me because I work hard. I love what I do, but I also work very hard at what I do as well. So it's important that I reward myself with these things and be intentional about the things that I do for joy, being intentional about the things that I do for pleasure. For those of you that are watching that are whether live or on the replay, that are in my mastermind, there is a specific category in the library that's specifically about black joy. How to acquire black joy, how to experience more black joy. So there's all of the joy is an important part of it, and I think that we can get so caught up, and also because we're hearing stuff all the time and seeing stuff all the time, in the media and everything that make it difficult for us to experience joy and to experience pleasure, because there's always something in the news, something, there's always some racist incident, there's always somebody that's experiencing some sort of pain, there's always somebody that's just been shot by the police or what, there's always something, and so if we're always on that vibe of having to deal with all of that all the time, it's overwhelming, and it's just not possible to constantly be on the road of looking at all of that stuff. It's just not, you can't experience joy in your process if you're always doing that. Okay, so it is really, really, really important for you to have boundaries. Is to have boundaries around your healing process. Sometimes I'll just come off social media for a while and not look at it, and not look at it. Sometimes there'll be times where I'll just take it off my phone as well, because I just think, oh, I can't with it. I just take it off my phone altogether, because I know that I just need to have a break. My brain needs a break, and for you to be able to show up for yourself, okay, for you to be able to show up for yourself in your relationships, in your healing process at work, whatever it is, your brain just needs a break. Your soul needs a break. It's not sustainable for us to always be talking about the pain and always talking about all of this stuff all the time. It's just not sustainable. Something that I've just recently implemented in my mastermind actually is having the last week of the month where we don't work. Well, I reduce the classes. I don't do any live classes or anything on the last week of the month, because I say, if you want to recap on stuff that in the month that you didn't have a chance to do, go and do that. If you want to go out and have fun, have a break, nap, whatever, go and do that. Because it's not sustainable. It's not healthy to be constantly on the wellness grind all the time. That in of itself can also be quite addictive, and it's not healthy. you know so be specific, be intentional about the things that you can do for yourself that are going to help you to just enjoy life, just to be present without all of the thinking that you have to be working on yourself all the time. Part of working on yourself is actually not working on yourself, if that makes sense. Yeah, let me just say that again. Part of working on yourself is not working on yourself, um not doing any journal work, not doing any therapy work, not doing any recovery work, not do, you can put down all of that stuff and just go out and enjoy the sun sometimes. Go and have an ice cream. Go and have a nap. Go to the cinema. The cinema's hopefully going to be open. They're opening soon, I think, I think they're already open actually in the UK. Just give yourself permission just to go and do something that's just going to give you some joy, that's going to give you some peace, that's going to give you some rest. Okay, it's not always about the healing process. It's not always about that, or it is about the healing process, but in a different way, not as part of the healing process as we know it. Okay, so those are three things that you can do. Well, five things actually that you can do to enjoy the healing process. Number one, pause to remember how far you've come. Number two, choose people. Don't always allow yourself to be chosen, because people that choose you aren't necessarily the right people for you. Okay, you choose people that are gonna be good for you. Number three, reward yourself. Okay, reward yourself. Number four, have boundaries. Okay, number four, have boundaries. And what was the fifth thing that I said? I can't remember what the fifth thing is what I said, because those were two bonuses. But yeah, you'd have to go back and watch the big watch the other bits. I can't remember what the fifth one is. Pause, choose, reward, boundaries. I can't remember. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone, people. I'm human. What do you mean? I'm human. I've forgotten. I've forgotten what the fifth one is. But yeah. So if you've loved it, if if you've enjoyed today's live stream, and you're interested in joining the mastermind, you can join us for the book club, which is on Thursday evening, 8 p.m. London time. Click the link in the bio. Go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining. All right, take care. Bye bye.